Hey friends, and welcome back. We're going to start off by sanding the sublimation tumbler. I get my sublimation tumblers from AB Designs, and the link is down in the description for you guys below. When it comes to sanding the sublimation tumblers, all we're trying to do is remove the gloss. Once we have the tumbler nice and sanded, we're going to go ahead and clean it up with some soap and water and get ready to get started. At this point, I've already taped off the top and the bottom because I really wanted a larger space that I could glitter. So I'm going to go ahead and spray paint the tumbler the flat white, and I'm going to use Elevated from AB Designs, which is a custom chunky mix of glitter. You'll notice that the glitter adhered perfectly well to my spray paint, which is why I prefer the spray paint method. Once I'm certain that I didn't need another coat of glitter, I went ahead and peeled off all of my masking tape and allowed this to completely dry. Once we've tapped off all that excess, we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to go ahead and seal this with the clear seal from Rustoleum. Now, I did seal this at least twice before moving on to the next step, as I wanted to go ahead and spray paint the top and the bottom, which is now currently white. So I needed to make sure that this was fully dry so that I could then take the saran wrap and very carefully wrap that section that I've already glittered, masking it off at the top and the bottom with the painter's tape so that I can spray paint without any overspray. I want to do this beautiful satin lagoon color. I absolutely love this color. So I did not want to have to epoxy first. I'm not currently worried about the little bits that bled at the top and the bottom, as we're going to fix that later. Once everything is nice and dry, we're going to go in with our first coat of epoxy, which I'm using Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. If you sealed that glitter section really well, you won't have too many troublesome glitters that are contaminating your other sections. Make sure you use your heat torch to pop any bubbles you may or may not be able to see. So because we are working with a custom mix, it does have chunky glitter. So I did need to go in after the tumbler was fully cured and sand down in that section of glitter. Off camera, I did go ahead and apply another coat of epoxy so that I would have a nice smooth surface when coming back with my vinyl decal. Now that our tumbler is super smooth, we are ready to go ahead and place our vinyl. This is a beautiful floral print from BAMF Custom Creations, and not to worry, I will have that link as well down for you in the description below. So I went ahead and measured out the width that I would need to cover up just that portion of where I glittered. This way, I didn't have to worry about trimming the top and the bottom of this vinyl later. I only needed to worry about trimming the seam. Once I got this wrapped and met up with the other side, I went ahead and just placed this tape along the seam just so that I could see it better in order to go ahead and use my X-Acto knife to trim it down. Using the tape as a guide is really helpful if you struggle with making straight lines down that seam. Once my seam was trimmed, I was ready to go ahead using nail tape to stripe all the way down here at the bottom. I do get a lot of questions about how I get my nail tape and or vinyl so straight. And I really believe it's using the turner as that helping hand, because I like to leave them on the turner, spin with my left, and just guide with my right with the nail tape. And I eyeball in between each nail tape line, if that makes sense. I also really like to overlap my nail tape over the ends of each other by quite a bit, honestly, and that really has helped a great deal in preventing any lifts. Really wanted to add in this nail tape all the way down at the bottom, as well as that little rim at the top, just giving this a little something extra. You can always add less if you desire. Once I finished adding all of the nail tape that I wanted, I decided that I wanted to add the same exact vinyl down here at the bottom, basically giving it a different look, yet the same look. This is a 3-inch circle diameter that I cut using my Cricut. Now that that is complete, we're going to go ahead and go in for another coat of epoxy. And again, for this coat, I am going to be using the Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. Be sure to use your heat torch to pop any bubbles that you may or may not be able to see. Allow this to fully cure, and then we're going to come back and fix the seam. Although this seam is not horrible, it tends to bother quite a few. But the blessing with using this type of vinyl with the white ink backing, you can actually cover this right up. So I had some additional full flowers that I was able to place right over that seam after my epoxy had fully cured. Once you add in all those beautiful full flowers, no one will ever be the wiser that you had to trim your seam. Once our seam was completed, I decided to go in and add Bloom with Grace. The fonts used for the Bloom and Grace will be down in the description for you guys below. Now it is time for one more coat of epoxy, and for this coat I am again going to be using the Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. Here you might notice that I went ahead and added some of the floral cut out and up and around the top and the bottom of the original rims where I had placed the nail tape, just so that it didn't look so cut off, if you will, and giving it a little bit something extra. And here she is, fully completed. This tumbler did require one more coat of epoxy, and she was completed. In that final coat of epoxy, I did add snow caps from AB Designs for a little added sparkle. Be sure to drop me a comment down below and let me know what you guys thought of this seamless idea for this beautiful tumbler. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.